My name's Jared Brown. Okay, do we need to do a little clap thing? We lead an organization called Mission Lazarus. Our mission is to cultivate dignity and purpose so that individuals can live abundant lives now and for eternity. I grew up in Franklin, Tennessee. After I graduated from college, I took a job as a consultant for a large tech company. I was on a plane to a new city every week. My life was everything I wanted until it wasn't. In 1998, Hurricane Mitch ripped through Central America, and there was mass devastation throughout the region, in particular in Honduras.
The death toll in this hurricane ranks with the deadliest hurricanes of all time. This was certainly a very, very catastrophic event, and one that we hope will not be repeated.
Some folks from my parents' church were going to go down and help build houses in a community that had been set up by the government for folks that, these neighborhoods that had been near the river that had they disappeared, they were just gone. There was a lot of people trying to do good things with good intentions, but it created a lot of access to free things, to free food, to free health care. In many ways, the aid was weakening communities and making them dependent on foreign aid. You see, when someone can't provide for their family, they feel hopeless. And when they have to rely on handouts, their dignity erodes little by little. The idea was to provide them with seed that they could plant so that they could provide for their own families. And that simple gift of seed could turn into a harvest, and that harvest would be able to provide for their families. In business terms, we call that seed capital. And I realized that all my time in business school had prepared me for this work. I knew I wasn't going to leave. I had to stay. We were traveling across these mountains and visiting all these villages and getting to know some incredible people, but at the same time, we were becoming aware of some really shocking stories. There were stories of domestic violence and abuse, parents feeling like there were no options or abandoning their children and immigrating illegally to the U.S. And then young girls were left in their communities oftentimes to survive.
En Honduras, tal vez por la falta de estudios, las mujeres no tienen muchas oportunidades, ¿verdad? Como que se quisiera. La mujer se dedica a tener muchos hijos, a cuidar su familia, pero no tienen una oportunidad para desempeñar otro cargo, ¿verdad? Cuando la época que estuve con el padre de mi hijo, fueron momentos muy difíciles para mi vida. Una vez estuve a punto de morir.
Bueno, mis padres me abandonaron a la edad de 5 años. Nosotros los tomamos más a nuestros abuelos como mis padres que ellos dos. Que mi mami se preocupaba y lloraba, pues, porque no había que comer. Entonces, eso me dolía.
When you know these people so intimately and the brokenness that just abounds and just lack of justice, the impunity, it's just like, Jesus, come soon. It's tough to come back and ask for money to try to solve these problems when the reality is it doesn't matter how much money you throw at it, you don't solve them quickly. You have to back up and look at the root of what was causing so much disparity. And what we saw was there was a true lack of basic employment. And why is there a lack of opportunity for employment? Because there's a lack of opportunity for education. And why is there a lack of opportunity for education? It's because they're hard to get to. These places are isolated. The problem never was that these people were lazy. Quite the contrary. I've never seen people as hardworking as they were. The problem was they didn't have access to education. So in 2009, we launched our junior high vocational training program that combined traditional education with vocational training in boot making, leatherworking, carpentry, and sewing. Soon we realized that the problem was no longer a lack of opportunity. Now the problem was a lack of capacity for the incredible response of people wanting an opportunity to learn. Through this, we saw story after story of transformation.
Cuando entré a trabajar aquí, pues yo le di las gracias a Dios porque yo sabía que ya podía ayudar a mis abuelitos y como vivimos tantos en nuestra casa.
When we got to meet Brian, he was wanting to belong. He was wanting community. He was wanting family. And it was on the cusp of joining a gang.
Ernesto para mí fue como un papá para mí, pues después de mi casa, yo venía acá, a veces venía con problemas y bueno, yo se los comentaba a él me aconsejaba, siempre me dio su apoyo y pues de los varones, todos los que están ahí los considero mis amigos más cercanos.
Misión Lázaro es un lugar donde uno se acerca cada día más a Dios. En todos los trabajos que estuve, no se predicaba la palabra de Dios. No empezábamos una mañana con un devocional. En Misión Lázaro sí lo hacemos y eso nos ha cambiado la vida. El trabajo en Casa Lázaro no solo, ¿verdad?, dedicarnos a cultivar café, más que todo trabajamos en la dignidad de todas estas mujeres, ¿verdad? Darles el valor que ellas merecen, apoyarlas en cualquier situación, maltrato familiar o algún apoyo que ellas necesiten, ¿verdad? En este momento, hasta el día de hoy, yo siento que valgo mucho como mujer, como persona, como ser humano.
Chains of poverty that have bound their families up in tough, complicated situations for generations, they are ripped apart in the name of Jesus Christ through a business model.
The coronavirus continues to spiral out of control in the U.S.
When COVID-19 hit, traditional fundraising events were wiped off the calendar.
We really began to stare down bankruptcy as a true possibility. When we played it all out, we knew that we would go bankrupt May 15th. Once we ran payroll on May 15th, we would be dead in the water.
Los retos que adquirimos en el 2020 fueron inexplicables. Entender que de la nada iba a desaparecer Misión Lázaro fue un golpe duro.
If Mission Lazarus were to stay afloat, we had to raise $500,000 of new capital in 30 days. If we would have to file for bankruptcy, I had no doubt that in a week, I would be able to find another way to provide for my family. But that is not the case for the people that make up our staff. They wouldn't be able to find another job. The reality was, only a miracle would provide $500,000 in 30 days in the environment that we were in 2020.
Yo pensé que era un sueño, porque estábamos viendo lo que Dios había construido, que de la noche a la mañana se iba a desvanecer.
I stood right there at that corner, weeping and crying out to God, feeling like such a failure. Right at the same time that we're trying to figure out how to navigate this major funding situation, we get word of a major forest fire that is sweeping across our coffee farm. It was obvious that the farm itself and all of our structures were destroyed. The flames, these massive flames that were consuming these 40-foot tall trees had come right to the edge of our rows of coffee plants, and it stopped. It was literally like God had sent firefighting angels to that mountain to protect this farm. Not only that, but our partners from across North America really stepped up right in the heat of this crisis. When it was all said and done, God has sent us $540,000. $40,000 more than the goal that we needed to guarantee the future of this organization and the livelihoods of our team. With that, we were able to honor 100% of our employees' contracts and guarantee that everybody was taken care of financially. The protection of our farm and then the financial providence that came in, it was such a clear statement that God wasn't done with this organization yet. By the fourth quarter of 2020, we were really starting to gain momentum. And that's when we got reports that Category 5 Hurricane Eta was headed straight to Honduras. It was the size of hurricane that hadn't been seen in Honduras since 1998, when Hurricane Mitch devastated Honduras, which was the whole catalyst for me being in Honduras in the first place. After 20 years at this, we understood that our role was in development, and honestly, we didn't have the expertise to be providing humanitarian relief in an effective way. My initial response to Luis, our national director, is we don't have the budget or the capacity to respond.
Yo recuerdo un día en el devocional, yo simplemente me paré en el devocional y les dije, bueno, la situación ahorita en la costa norte está difícil, tenemos que hacer algo. Tenemos que hacer algo nosotros como equipo. ¿Están dispuestos a apoyar?
Sin que el gobierno hubiese llegado primero. No había llegado el gobierno, pero ahí llegó Mission Lazarus.
The community started showing up with sacks of rice, corn, and beans, gently used clothes. The community was responding to serve their own people.
Con lo poco que aquí se recogió, allá se multiplicó.
I would have loved to have ridden in on a big white horse to save the day, but the borders having been closed for much of the year, it was an incredible blessing because we were able to see the return on investment in the leadership development that our teams had been receiving. And they rose to the occasion and they performed on a level that was truly remarkable in crisis after crisis with a level of stress that even the most seasoned leader would have struggled under.
Si llegamos al éxito es porque hemos pasado también fracasos, porque hemos pasado luchas. Nos hemos caído, pero nos hemos levantado.
As an organization, we've never spent time in the big cities, spending time with people in power or the media outlets. But God wanted the country to know what he was doing. And the most incredible thing happened. Santos, our spiritual outreach director, was invited to stand up and to raise a hand and to pray on live TV over the country of Honduras.
Fue algo muy especial, sentir el Espíritu Santo que le controla los nervios y poder levantar las manos y decir en el nombre de Jesús, bendice cada familia de San Marcos y bendice, Señor, cada familia en cualquier parte de este mundo.
This is what success looks like. Hemos visto muchos milagros aquí, pero yo digo que uno de los más grandes es la forma que el Espíritu Santo trajo a Santos a Mission Lazarus por esa etapa donde estamos ahorita, realmente marcando cierre de 20 años y abriendo 20 más. God has blessed this ministry with so many people who truly believe in what we're doing. Over the past 20 years, thousands have invested their time, their talent, and their treasure in Mission Lazarus. 20,000 people have received medical care through our clinic, and some 30 churches have been planted. They are who have made it possible for us to reach over 100,000 people over the last 20 years with the good news of Jesus Christ. Together, we can help even more people cultivate dignity and purpose so they can live abundant lives now and for forever.